You owe me ice cream since I got a higher grade than you.
I tried to miss a couple questions.
I don't know about that one, Tay.
An F? How did I get such a bad grade? I always pass my test.
Wait, so I finally got a better grade than you?
Which ones did you get wrong?
Basically, all of them. I must have been so worked up yesterday when I lost my phone that I couldn't concentrate. Like, why in the world did I answer, "What's the largest land animal?" with a Siberian giant flying squirrel? Do you think this means I'm going to fail the class? Or worse, get expelled for bad grades?
Gabriella, you made one mistake and you're getting so worked up about it.
And we know that you do such a good job of studying and working hard.
But this is a huge problem. What is going to happen now when colleges see I got an F on this test?
Gabriella, we're only in 4th grade.
No, you don't understand. This is just the beginning.
Beginning of what exactly?
First, I fail a test. Then, all the cute little fish in the sea become vicious sharks. And then, the earth will start to freeze over into a giant ice cube. And then, when we are all escaping Earth, we'll get chased by broccoli monsters. Then, the planets of the solar system will get sucked into a black hole.
Yeah, I think Jade is right. You are getting way too worked up.
Well, what else do I do to stop thinking about it? It's not like I can buy a prehistoric baby woolly mammoth to make my day better.
No, but the good news is there are still a ton of tests and opportunities left to do well on.
DeAndre's right. You still have plenty of time to make up for it.
Everyone makes mistakes. But we have to keep moving forward and focus on what's in front of us.
And we all know you get the best grades.
You guys are right. I'm not gonna let this discourage me anymore.
So, does that mean we can go get that ice cream Tay owes me now?
Hey everybody! February is one of our absolute all-time favorite months of the year here in ChurchKids. Do you want to know why? Because it is Black History Month. And Black History Month is an important time for us to celebrate the special history and the incredible achievements that African Americans have made and continue to make here in the United States and all around the world. So, each week, this month in February, we are highlighting an amazing illustrated book written by an African American author that your parents can order online and then read with you. Well, this week's book, I'm so excited. It is so good. This week's book is called The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson. And this book is so special because it is about something that we all need. It's about friendship. You see, The Other Side is a story about a friendship that grows between two girls, Clover and Annie, who live next door to each other, but are separated not only by a big wooden fence, but also by the racism and mistrust in their town. It's a story about how these two girls overcome it. And one of the reasons why I love this book is that it shows us how Jesus wants to use you and me to break down the distrust and the separation that racism creates between people. How do we do that? Simple. By loving and getting to know each other, by one conversation at a time. The illustrations, as you can see, are so cool. And when I read it, I think about the amazing opportunity that I have to become friends with people who look different than me, just like the opportunity you have to do the same thing. So, talk with your parents today and ask them if they will pick up The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson for you.
I just made it. Oh, hey, Church Kids. Wow, I just barely made it. I actually just tripped over a giant curb. Oh my gosh, has anyone else ever done that? But because of my super awesome wicked skills, I caught myself before I could fall on my face. I did it. I am here, and I am so glad to share the story with you today. My name is Miss Lily, and I'm so excited to be sharing this story. Have any one of you tripped or fallen before? Me, 20 seconds ago. I definitely have. And if you're not raising your hand, I bet you have tripped and fallen before. When you were a baby, learning how to walk. See, I told you have. Church kids, when I was a kid, I used to be super clumsy all the time. I was so excited this one time that I was going to my grandparents' house, that I was skipping around, la-da-da, I'm so excited, Grandma and Grandpa, woohoo! That I started skipping down the stairs. And the next thing that I knew, when I was skipping down the stairs, clumsy Lily's going to see her grandparents, whoop! My foot slipped up from underneath me and I fell straight on my back. And I just laid there on the stairs and screamed, "Ow!" And nobody came for me. I don't think I screamed loud enough. But when my parents came downstairs, they said, "Lily, it's time to get up. You gotta see your grandparents." And I said, "I fell." But, okay. And I got back up and I went to go see my grandparents. But could you imagine if I slipped and I fell and I screamed? My parents said the same thing, "Lily, it's time to go to your grandparents' house." And I just laid there and said, "No, please, no, just go on without me. I'm gonna stay here for the rest of my life." No, church kids, that would be so weird. What happens when we fall? We get back up. In the exact same way, when we make a wrong choice, do we just stay down and do we give up on God and we stay sad? No, because there is something called faith. And when we have faith, it gives us the power to stand back up and keep following Jesus. And in Hebrews chapter 7, we learn about David, and he is a great example of how when we fall, we can get back up. David was a shepherd's kid, and he helped sheep with his dad. And then God told him, "David, you are going to be the king of Israel." David loved God, and all he wanted to do was please him. So David put his faith in God, even when he couldn't see him. And because of that, God was able to use David to do big, big things. With God's help, David was able to kill a lion, yeah, a bear, yeah, from the sheep. And then with God's help, David was able to kill a lethal 9-foot-tall giant named Goliath. How amazing is that? With God's help, David was able to do so many amazing, amazing things. And that's because David had faith. Faith is when we believe in Jesus, even though we can't see him. And when we believe in Jesus, Jesus uses us. Yes, he uses us to do big things. And the biggest thing that we can do is that we can help people. In Acts 13:22, it says, "I have found David, son of Jesse, a man after my own heart. He will do everything I want him to do." David was normal, just like you and me. He made mistakes, and he also had a bad attitude sometimes. And that's okay. But this one time, David did something really, really wrong. And he betrayed one of his friends. And then he had that friend killed. What? And that's not even the worst part of all. The worst part is that David covered it up. And then he lied about it. Church kids, have you ever made a poor choice and you covered it up and lied about it because you didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings and you didn't want to get caught? I definitely have. This one time, I borrowed my sister's favorite sweater. It was blue. It was sparkly. It was everything I could have imagined in a sweater, and it wasn't mine. So I begged my sister, "Please, Vivian, will you please let me borrow your blue sweater?" And she was like, "I don't know, Lily. You're probably gonna slip and fall because you're very clumsy, and I don't know if I want my favorite sweater to get any dirt or mustard on it." And I was like, no, I promise. Nothing will happen to your sweater. Everything will be just fine. So then she said, okay. So I wore her favorite sweater to school and I was feeling fabulous. I was like, everybody check me out. I look awesome. But then, church kids, at recess, next thing I know, I run across a fence and I just see this sweater snagging behind me and my eyes widen. And I was like, it was in slow motion. I was like, no. And a big hole came out of her sweater. I was mortified. I ran home, threw the sweater in my closet, and I was like, I didn't wear the sweater. So when my sister got home from school, she asked me, hey, where's my sweater? And I said, yeah, I just didn't feel like wearing it, so I don't really know where your sweater is. And she thought she had lost it, church kids. And it was my fault. I was so afraid that she would hate me or she would just not want to be my sister anymore that I lied and I covered it up. Church kids, the next day I felt so horrible that I told her the truth. And she was a little bit angry and I learned how to sew that day. I learned how to fix the hole, but she ended up forgiving me. Church kids, God can see everything that we do. So God knew what David had done, and it just broke God's heart. So what God did was God sent the prophet Nathan to go talk to David, and this is what David said. Then David confessed to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. Even though David made a bad choice, he got back up. He did something really hard. And one of the things that he did was hard was he admitted what he did. And then he asked God to forgive him. Church kids, when we do that, we're putting our faith back in God because we're normal people. David was normal. But you know who's not normal? You know who's perfect? God is perfect. So God was able to forgive David, and he will always forgive you, no matter what mistake you made or no matter what wrong choice you make. David needed forgiveness, and that is what God gave him. Church kids, how can we keep believing in God each time we fall down? It's called faith. When we have faith in God, God's faithfulness will always be with us for the rest of our lives. And in Proverbs 24:16, it says, the godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. God chose you. Chose you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You are his son, and you are his daughter. And God is so perfect that God's faithfulness will always be a part of your life, no matter what wrong choice you made, or no matter you made a poor choice and you felt really bad and you don't know how to recover from it, and you're so down and lonely and sad. You know who's right there with you, ready to forgive you and bring you back into the biggest warm hug you've ever felt? Jesus is. He is right there with you, and he loves you so much, more than you will ever know. And church kids, when we do make a poor choice, here are a couple things we can do to make sure that we can always get back up again. We can admit what we did quickly before we get caught. I know, it's really hard sometimes, but I know you can do it. And then you can ask God to forgive you because he has already forgiven you. And then you can get back up and you can keep believing in Jesus because he has so much in store for you. Big things when we put our faith in him.
What an amazing message. Did you know that every Sunday, me and some of my friends lead what's called a digital party? Wait, what? What is a digital party? It's only the funnest part of my week. And we hop on a Zoom and watch the video together, and we have games and best friend time. That way we don't have to watch alone. We can watch with church kids all over the world. Does that sound like something you'd want to be a part of? If so, have your parents email us at churchkids@churchome.org, and we can talk to them about it. Our digital parties are so much fun, and I would absolutely love to see you there too. Don't forget to have your parents email us.